Hey YouTube, what's going on? This is PokeTCG Gamer here, and I'm back with another video. And in today's video, I'm going to be going over my Week 1 match and replay, and team builder, of my match versus Danza, aka the coach of the Los Angeles Nidokings. Danza's team goes as follows. He has a Landorus Eye, a Turneus T, Victini, Cobalion, Sylveon, Rotomo, Mamoswine, Mega Gyarados, Kangaskhan, Dusknoir, and Ariados. So, definitely has a very threatening team. His two Z-move users are Turneus T and Rotomo. If you have not seen my draft analysis where I talk a little bit about how Z-move users work this year in the NPL, definitely go check that out. I'll leave a link to it in the description. But yeah, this is going to be a pretty quick video, I'm thinking, just because I'm just not having a lot of time. But I'm still going to go over this team in as much depth as I built it, pretty much. So this is a pretty straightforward build, honestly. So we had the Lycanroc Dusk, the Tangrowth, Excadrill, Mega Altaria, Weavile, and Slowbro. So pretty much I have Lycanroc here, which is just something that can definitely sweep late game. And not only can it sweep late game, it can also support something like Weavile. It can they basically support each other, as in Lycanroc and Weavile can both break down Cobalion for each other, and because Cobalion is probably going to be the switch into both of these, I'm thinking, just based on his team. And by the way, what I'm expecting is pretty much Landorus Eye, Turneus T, Victini, and Cobalion. I'm 100% expecting. And then I'm expecting 2 of the 3 out of Sylveon, Mamoswine, and Mega Gyarados. So pretty much this Lycanroc set with the Lycanium Z has Swords Dance, Accelerock, Stone Edge, and Drill Run. So this thing is basically meant it can break his team very easily. If Cobalion is chipped, that is his only rock resist, and even then I have Drill Run to hit it. And even though I'm not OHKOing at +2, I'm still doing a lot of damage to it. And if I can chip it with something like Weavile, for example, it can very easily sweep. And that's going to be the game plan, obviously, for this match. So that's pretty much Lycanroc, straightforward. The Lycanium Z is just a noob versus team. Obviously, 190 base power rock move versus a team with 1 rock resist is just going to do very well in general. So next up we have Tangrowth with the Sleep Powder, Knockoff, Giga Drain, and Earthquake. I built this team a few weeks ago, but I'm pretty sure the Spadef is for taking a Sludge Wave from an unboosted Landorus Eye. I want to say that. Don't quote me on it though. And then the rest is just meant to optimize my defense in taking on Cobalion and Gyarados. Sleep Powder is to stop things from like Victini and Turneus T pivoting into me for free. Knockoff hits things like Victini and Turneus Eye, getting rid of like a Life Orb or a Band from one of them respectively. Giga Drain obviously hits Gyarados and could hit Mamoswine if I needed to. And Earthquake is basically just for the Cobalion, so I can do a little more damage to it than Giga Drain would. And like I said, that another pretty straightforward set. Obviously, Rocky Helmet to chip things like the Cobalion and the Mega Gyarados. So next up we have the Excadrill, which is actually a very nice Gloomon this week for me. It has Stealth Rocks, Iron Head, Rapids, and Earthquake. Not only is it my rocker and my hazard remover, this is also my only thing really that pivots into Sylveon well. Now I have things like Lycanroc, which at +2 can blow it away with a Z move. But other than that, this thing I definitely need to keep it healthy for. Even a defensive Sylveon is annoying for me without this Excadrill, as with this Excadrill I have a guaranteed pivot into Sylveon that forces it out with my stab. The other 5 members on my team either don't appreciate pivoting into Hyper Voice or they don't hit it hard back. So this is why Excadrill is here, to get up rocks, keep them off, and pressure the Sylveon. So next up we have my Mega Altaria this week at Dragonet's Roost, Heal, and Return. EVs are as followed. We have the 224 in HP, 48 in attack, 16 plus in Spadef, and 220 in speed. The 48 in attack I'm pretty sure is do KO plus +1 KO Tornadus with Return. The 220 is to outspeed Tornadus at +1. And the 16 plus in Spadef and 224 in HP is to optimize how I switch it into things like Victini, as this thing can take things like Banded V-Create from Victini, as well as some like an Extra Belt or Life Orb, Dazzling Gleam from Victini, which is very nice. And that's pretty straightforward. Healbell obviously supports itself, supports Tangrowth, and supports Slowbro. So next up we have Weavile here with the Ice Shard, Ice Crash, Knockoff, and Low Kick with the Extra Belt. I originally had a choice band, but after talking to Gypsy a little bit about this set, I realized that Extra Bell is just better because it stops him from constant. It allows me to switch up my moves, which versus his team is very very nice. Considering I think I hit um almost his whole team super effectively, bar things like the Sylveon and the Ariados. But other than that, I think I hit everything else super effectively. And low kick is super nice for things like Mamoswine and Mega Gyarados and Cobalion. And not having to predict them is very very nice. And the speed, once again, similar to Altaria +1, this is optimized for the Tornadus T. And last up we have Slowbro, which at this point I really don't have many things to switch into things like Tornadus T and Landorus Eye and even Mamoswine. So this is my kind of switch into those. I know all three of those get knockoff, which would kind of ruin my set, which is Assault Vest. And the reason I have Thunder Wave is because those three coverage moves, Focus Blast, Scald, and Ice Beam, is really all I need. It hits his team very sufficiently. And the EVs are optimized so I can take 2 Life Orb Tornadus Hurricanes, I'm pretty sure, or 2 Life Orb Earth Powers from Landorus is what I'm thinking the EVs do. But that's gonna be it for this part of the video. I will see you guys in when I get to the replay. And we're back with the replay versus Danza, coach, like I said, of the Los Angeles Nidokings. Sorry if I sound just a bit uncomfortable in general in this video. I'm not recording in my usual setup, not even recording in my own house. So and I apologize if you hear any cars going by. I'm not, like I said, not recording it in my own house. So just a little bit of an uncomfortable environment to record. But either way, we have Danza's team here. He brought Landorus Eye, Cobalion, I don't know which way is the right way to say it, to be honest. He also has the Victini, the Sylveon, the Gyarados, and the Tornadus T. So pretty much everything that I expected. He did not bring the Mamoswine, which I'm very very happy about. Don't really switch into that well, or even check it well. I guess I do have Weavile and Extra, which both do check it as long as it's not like Scarf. But if it's Scarf, then obviously Silver would check it. But either way, brings the Gyarados over the Mamoswine, which is the one slot I was thinking, you know, maybe he could put Mamoswine over Gyarados there. But he did not. Gyarados can do work, but I feel confident with Tangrowth and Altera that I can be able to handle it. So I think with that said, I covered everything else in the team builder, and I think we can just get into the match. So on lead, I was pretty much just set on leading with my Weavile. This made the most sense to lead off with it. It checks Landorus and Tornadus T, pretty much the 2 scariest mons I think on his team for mine, and just forces them out right away. So that is actually what I'm going to do. I'm just going to lead off with my Weavile, as he does lead off with his Gyarados. So turn 1, I'm pretty much forced out. I'm intimidated. I'm not going to be hitting this thing super hard, especially if he Mega Evolves. So I'm just going to switch out into my Tangrowth, dedicated switch, as he actually does make a double of his own into his Sylveon. So right here I could have stayed in and knocked, but I didn't want to potentially take a Specs Hyper Voice without knowing what I didn't want to stay in, basically knowing or not knowing what his set was. So I'm just going to go right out to my X-Drill here, as like he actually makes a nice switch into his Victini. So a lot of doubles the first 2 turns. But now I'm just going to go into my Altaria, as he goes into his Gyarados, and I don't know why those turns went so fast. But basically I was in a nice spot. I had a free Mega Evolution and a free return, as he doesn't have the greatest Fairy Resist, and his Fairy Resist doesn't in Victini doesn't really hit me that hard, and is also going to be scared of Earthquake. So I'm just going to fire for a turn, and that does a very nice amount of damage, 40%. As now I'm just going to go into my X-Drill. I'm trying to get up rocks and pressure this thing out, as he does actually Toxic. So now not only do I get rocks, but this thing is also going to be at about 60% when it comes back in on the rocks. So I get my rocks in the Gyarados. I'm just going to go back into my Tangrowth. As he goes into his Cobalion, I'm just going to Earthquake here, as he taunts, probably predicting a Sleep Powder, I guess, if he like Volt Switched into his Torn. As now he does actually reel the Volt Switch. Surprised they didn't get up rocks in any of those, I think 3 turns they was in, or 2 turns. I felt like rocks were very important in this game, and I'm not sure why he didn't choose to get him up, but I guess I'll see if, in his team builder, if his Cobalion didn't even had rocks. So okay, so he volt switch into his Torn. My Tangrowth is in. Obviously, I'm not gonna stay in. I'm gonna go right into my Slowbro. As yeah, the Earthquake obviously not effective. Or immune. So he U-turns out on my Slowbro, revealing Life Orb, which is important to note. He could still be Life Orb knockoff, and if he is, then he's pretty much just gonna tear through my Slowbro. But he did not knock that turn, which is nice, as his U-turns into his Sylveon, probably to get up a Wish. So I'm just gonna go out into my Extra, as he actually, I'm pretty sure he does fire off the Wish. Yep. And I'm just gonna fire off a safe Iron Head. Okay, no, okay. I doubled out there, predicting the Gyarados. Obviously he wasn't gonna stay in Hyper Voice on Iron Head. So I recorded this, or I did this game like 2 weeks ago, so not all the plays are fresh in my mind. But I get in on the Gyarados, even though I'm intimidated. And his Gyarados is now back at full. I'm still gonna fire for a turn and get some nice damage offers or something, as that something is the Cobalion. So right here, very much expected either an Iron Head or him to finally get up his rocks. But as you guys are gonna see, he just fires off an Iron Head, and at this point, I'm thinking he's not gonna go without close combat. So I was pretty sure that this thing did not have rocks. And right here, he volt switches into his Torn, as I missed a Sleep Powder, which that was very unfortunate, because if I did land that Sleep Powder, I pretty much could have went hard into my Lycanroc instead of going into my Slowbro. Because I missed that, I do have to go into my Slowbro, as he does knock. So if that did land, I would still have my Assault Vest at this point in the game. But because I missed, obviously it is Sleep Powder, but it was a little bit unfortunate. So now he gets a knockoff and then U-turn, and now my Slowbro is extremely low. I just fire off a Thunder Wave in case he wanted to stay in, like Hurricane, and if I somehow lived, I'd get to cripple this thing. So it's slower than things like Lycanroc and Extra. So I'm just gonna fire off a Thunder Wave as he goes into his Sylveon, and because the Sylveon revealed Toxic, I was pretty confident in saying it was not Healbo. So whatever the Thunder Wave landed on would be crippled for the rest of the game. I was almost positive. So I Thunder Wave, and now I actually just fire off a Scald, seeing if he wanted to double out or something, predicting my extra. But he actually just stays in, fires off a Wish. So now I'm just gonna switch out, save or get some health back, and save Solar as a sack to Torn later, or even Landers, as he does Hyper Voices, and now he's back at full. And now I have no reason to fire for an Iron Head. There's no Wish in the air. Gyarados is not going to get back up to full after taking this, and he takes a total of 40% that turn because of rocks in the Iron Head. So now I'm just going to go into my Tangrowth, make a very safe play as he doubles into his Tornadus. So now at this point, it's time for me to sack off my Slowbro, but he does actually miss the Air Slash, which is pretty unfortunate, but I guess it kind of makes up for the Sleep Powder miss earlier in the game. So now he just U-turns out, not wanting to risk Air Slash, not killing, and then dying to something like an Ice Beam. I'm pretty sure I just fire off a Scald here as he goes into his Sylveon. As I do fire off a Scald, I could have fired off an Ice Beam, but it really made no difference. So now I'm just going to go into my X-Drill, as he actually does get paralyzed here, which is a little unfortunate. I assume he fired off a Wish, and because he didn't get that Wish off, his Gyarados is going to stay at 35 after rocks, which is not really what he wanted, obviously. But now he goes into Victini on the Iron Head. He fires off a V-Create, and that does 57, so obviously we know it's Choice Banded. But because it's Choice Banded and not Choice Scarf, I'm going to outspeed now because of the drop, and I'm just going to fire off a Free Roost, as he goes into his Gyarados, getting off the Intimidate here, is why I assume he went to Gyarados as I Roost, as that turn is actually extremely laggy. So I Roost up, and now I just return on the Gyarados as he goes into his Sylveon. Now I'm just going to go into my X-Drill, predicting he would go for a Wish, and now I'm just going to fire for an Iron Head, no reason not to, as he does actually go into his Gyarados. I wasn't really sure why. I think he could have went to something like his Landorus, because Iron Head just kills off that Gyarados, and now I'm in a very, very good spot. As he just goes into his Cobalion and fires off a Volt Switch on my X-Drill. Very good play, predicting my Torn. And now this is the time where Slowbro should die as long as he lands. Oh no, I actually go into Torn. I mean X-Drill first. I guess just not wanting to sack off my Slowbro yet to preserve differential. But at some point I'm gonna have to sack it off, as that is right now. As it goes for the Heat Wave, as I should still be in range of an Air Slash. Oh, actually going to my Lycanroc, okay, because, okay, at this point, I do remember at this point I was trying to preserve differential. Obviously, NPL is a very, very competitive league, and the most differential I can preserve, obviously, the better. And having the sack in Slowbro helps me versus something like Landorus, where I don't have to sack something that I need. As at this point, I feel like all 5 of my Mons are useful, or all 6 of my Mons are useful, except Slowbro. So I go into my Lycanroc. He's now in range of a Celerock. So that's what I'm just going to do. I'm just going to click Celerock as he goes into his Sylveon, as that just lagged out again. I apologize for that. So now his Sylveon's at 30. Obviously, it's in range of a Stone Edge. But at this point, I really don't want to risk Stone Edge missing. And if this thing gets up a Wish and then I Protect, and it's back at full, it's just annoying. I'm going to speed up the game a little bit. I'm just going to fire off my Z move. That guarantees that the Sylveon is going to die. As he does die right now, as get to see that cool animation. Now he goes into his Cobalion, which I wasn't really a little confused about, and him doing that basically showed me that Landorus is not Scarf. So he's just gonna go into his Cobalion. I'm just gonna fire off a Drill Run. I land. He's not Shuka. I'm not sure what item he was. I assume he was Chople Berry if he was not Shuka Berry. But now he goes into his Torn. Once again, I'm pretty confused. Landorus is pretty much his only play at this point to try and just preserve his differential, because at this point the game is over in terms of I don't think he can win. But he could definitely have gotten the differential a little lower, I feel, if he didn't just sack things off to this Lycanroc. So now Lycanroc is up at 3 kills, which is very, very nice. As now he goes into his Landorus, I'm just going to sack off my Slowbro, as I tried to do many times before. So he just Earth Power, so you guys can see that did 66, and if that had, if I had the Assault Vest, that still would have been doing a lot of damage. So you guys can see my Lander switch-ins were not the best, and he also revealed to be modest with that damage. So he throws off a Calm Mind, I throw off a Scald. I could have thrown off an Ice Beam, but I guess just in case he wanted to go Victina, I just Scalded here. So I just Scald, do 47, but at this point, he is in range of a knockoff from my Weavile. As that's what, or I don't think he might be in range of a knock, but I think either way I just click Icicle Crash, or I click Ice Shard, I mean, just to be safe. But now he goes into Victina. I know this is not Choice Scarf, he's Choice Bandit. I knock it off, and now Landorus is in range of a knockoff, and I'm just gonna win the game with Weavile. So Weavile picking up 2 kills and Lycanroc 3 in their debuts. Get a nice 5-0 win in week 1 versus Danza. Very, very happy with that start, honestly. Spoilers here, I think that was the best differential as far as wins go in week 1. Very, very nice start off to the season. Next week we are playing David, and who is coaching the FC Popular. Gonna be a very, very hype game. I think the last time I played David was actually when I hacked him in minors to get into majors. So it's gonna be a nice revenge game for him, maybe, or maybe I'm just gonna I guess keep on my winning streak versus David. So that's gonna be it, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to hit that like button if you did, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.